So, hello everyone. It's been a couple of weeks, so I'm very excited to, and I feel like I'm having some revelations about where we're going with the astrology. And actually, we've just been talking about Sedna and fairy folk on the tour that led Patricia to the Gene Keys. That's kind of like amazing and really came in for me this morning after spending Beltane in Glastonbury. Felt very significant. And for those of you not aware, which might be all of you really, Adam is an archaeologist and his main subject is Glastonbury. And he's written, the last book he wrote was called The Holy Thorn Tree of Glastonbury. So he's very deeply immersed in the place, and I spent quite a lot of time there as a priestess in my 20s and 30s, but I feel like I'm going back into that energy. So it's quite nice to get those sort of confirmations of things. Okay, so we're going to be looking, doing more of a healing ceremony today. But I'm going to just talk a little bit about Pythia, which is the name given to the priestesses of Delphi. And just to kind of run through where we've been on this journey and the kind of revelations I'm having of why we've actually been on this whole journey of the oracular priestesses and ancient Greece, and why are we doing that? What is that all about? And why do we need to do it right now? And so the one thing that's kind of come through really clearly is that, and this is part of the whole Walk in Beauty, that book that I wrote was a core message. It was really about listening to Gaia. And it's so simple in a way, isn't it? But, we're so busy in our minds trying to solve the environmental crisis that often we're not actually just listening to Gaia. And there's different ways that Gaia communicates to us through animals, through weather, through clouds, and we kind of have an instinctive understanding, I think, of these ancient ways of being and how they're kind of re-emerging in our DNA. And so essentially what I've sort of felt all along we're doing here on Soul Tribe is we're reawakening these very ancient gifts of the priestess, which are really needed in the world right now. It feels like this creating from the inner levels could make the difference of where humanity goes in the future. And it feels more important in a way than action in the outer world, which meets with polarization or is done from a place of fear and anxiety, which are very understandable because we are really in the shit as far as the environment goes. But it's like we have to try and maintain this high frequency in order to facilitate the change, which means we need to be out of fear and also being able to help other people stay out of fear as we go through this incredible change that we're in, this great mutation that we're in. Okay, so let me share with you a bit about Pythia, because this brings in another part of our story of what I love about these myths is they kind of tell us, they show us where the wounds are. What is it in the whole priestess lineage that actually needs to be healed? So I did this drawing when I was at Eve's house in France, and I used her sort of technique. And this is what came out, this golden serpent python, and the priestess is kind of very entwined with the python. On her head is a rendition of a mudra I'm going to show you that kind of came in when I've been meeting with Kiki daily since I went to France. We've almost met every day just for about 15 minutes doing this light language. And it's been like so incredible. Feelings of peace and all sorts coming out of that. But the headdress is kind of a rendition of this mudra, which I'll share with you in a bit. Okay, so this is the revelation I had, that our journey through the asteroids Gaia, Apollo, and Daphne so far has led us to this beautiful place, the need to listen and hear Gaia more clearly, and the ocean, because Sedna just came in there at the end. So in the months ahead, we'll be exploring this through the goddess asteroids and trans-Neptunian objects further. So in a very practical way, where we're heading is to improve our clarity to receive information from Gaia and the cosmos, and then to hold this information in a way, like hold more information so that we can manifest it creatively, either individually or as a group, as a synarchy field. So looking at Pythia though today, so she's number 432, she's not in Taraka, so you have to look her up on astro.com and put 432 in the extended chart. And the Pythia were the name given to the oracular priestesses following the usurping of the Delphi oracle by Apollo. So if you remember, we talked about how Apollo killed the oracular python, which was the direct link to Gaia. So, you know, the first oracle of Delphi was Gaia, and then we have Daphne, the priestess, who is chased by Apollo, and she becomes a laurel tree. So in this corruption of the priestesses of Delphi, the Pythia become a mouthpiece for Apollo. So my understanding is quite interesting, given where Kiki and I have been going on this light language journey, that the priestesses spoke in these weird and wonderful languages, light languages, and the priest then interpreted the language. And if you went to the oracle, like we might go for an astrology reading, you couldn't say, no, I'm not accepting that. You know, if you went, you had to accept what the oracle said. So this gave a lot of power to the voice of Apollo, basically. And if you think people like kings and important people were asking the oracle for information, then you could imagine the level of kind of corruption that might start to creep in to this whole system. And along the way, the priestesses, the priests, humanity, we lose our ability to listen directly to Gaia. And so now we're coming through this prism of, you know, the priest, the priestess. When that changes to Christianity, that obviously has huge implications for a further kind of severing from the earth. Yeah, so hopefully you can perceive how this forgetting to hear directly from Gaia is really at the heart of our environmental crisis right now. Because when we can hear with clarity, we can take action with clarity, and from this high frequency place, like from the heart, if you like, rather than from a place of fear. So another part of the Pythia archetype, when you look her up, is that the Pythia priestesses regularly ingested snake venom. And so they tended not to live too long, actually. So I found that in my own history, this kind of weird urge to poison myself. It's strange, I know, but yeah, so that might be a theme that you find somewhere in this archetype too. So you can look at your priestess archetype through Vesta. Through Vesta, who we've talked about before, is the main priestess archetype, through Daphne, who's the one who's running away from Apollo, through Apollo himself, and now also through Pythia. So two main issues I would look at with Pythia are you a mouthpiece for the patriarchy through your work? Or are you a clear channel from Gaia? Because what Gaia is saying, what the establishment are saying, or where the money might be, are two different things potentially. So, you know, we all come under a lot of pressure to kind of conform to what our culture thinks we should say about things. Okay, and also all these bodies tell you where you might have astrological or oracular skills or divination skills. So today Pythia is at 2 Libra 51, which is 46 line 5, leading from seriousness to delight to ecstasy. And I can honestly tell you that this gene key is the one that comes up the most for goddess asteroids, like in their discoveries and where they are. So you'll see it's going to appear again. But it's a real deep gene key about embodiment, this gene key 46, like the softness and the delight of living in a human body is really what this is all about, this 46. Interestingly, just looking at my own chart, I have Pythia 25 Gemini squaring Pluto in Virgo, and I've had like a lifelong journey with this kind of working with power, money, corruption around the priestess archetype. So totally makes sense to me. And I have it in 12 line 4 in Gene Keys, which I've actually held this position 8 times in the Delta. So yeah, interesting that it's, you know, why I've had this gene key, I think, so much is this need to purify this particular field potentially as well. Okay, and today Pythia is, Pythia is at 46 line 5 today, but in the discovery chart, it's at 14 Gemini. And this is 35 line 4, that wormhole and miracles, which was our 4th Venus gate, the last one we did. So that is just like absolutely mind-boggling. It's like, oh my God. So I really feel through the astrology like we can make a big difference to these archetypes. We can really help to heal them. Okay, so just to show you the discovery chart, 2 things you might expect with Pythia. One is a connection with Pluto, because it's all about the energy of the underworld. And the second one is you might have a connection to Neptune, because Neptune is all about kind of those gases that come out of the earth at Delphi, and the snake venom and the altered consciousness and all of that. So in this chart, where Pythia would appear is conjunct Pluto here. So Pythia was at 11, did I say 14 Gemini? And actually Black Moon Lilith is at 11 Gemini when she was discovered. So you've got this energy of Pluto of the underworld, the visionary, oracular, like creative energy of Neptune. And then you've got Black Moon Lilith and Pythia. It's like, wow, you know, what a combination that is. Yeah, and you've got some other interesting things like the moon was exactly conjunct Juno, goddess of the sacred marriage. Where there's another exact conjunction somewhere. Oh yeah, and Venus is exactly opposite Pluto. So that's kind of a real sort of challenge from the patriarchy to the divine feminine as well. So I'll post this in the thing, and those of you like to look at astrology charts can decode it some more, but I don't want to bedazzle you with too much astrology today. And then just to have a quick squiz at the human design chart is that, so the sun was in Gene Key 11, line 6, and that is just crossed over the galactic center when Pythia was discovered, and the Earth is in the 12, line 6. So this energy of purity of the heart, which is held in the 12, I think is important. And then the design sun is at the 46, line 2. So there's that 46 appearing again. The moon is at 57, line 6, and this is the main gene key, the 57. If you're in the Delta, you'll be working with it. That is to do with intuition and clarity through the third eye. Yeah. And Pluto is in 35 in design and personality. So we have a big hit of that 35 wormholes and miracles energy again. And there's loads interesting on that that we haven't got time to go into everything, but I'll post those as well, and you know, have a look if you're curious and want to see like the connections with your own chart as well. Sometimes just like taking a look at the HD, you'll go, oh, I've got so-and-so in these gene keys, so you know you have those immediate connections with Pythia. And this is a painting of a pre-Raphaelite painting of Pythia. So you can see the gases coming out in the cracks of the earth. I haven't been to Delphi, but you know, apparently that's one of the reasons why it's a place where you have visions, and there's other places like that on the earth. And then she holds the laurel branch as well, which was part of, like, you know, remember Daphne was turned into a laurel tree. Okay, so I'm going to come out of that. Okay, so this is a bit of an experiment today, and as I say, Kiki and I have been doing this light language healing, and so what we're going to do today is I'm going to begin, and we're going to send healing sounds into the healing the Python, first of all. So if you imagine what the Python represents is our connection to the earth, our ability to listen to the earth. So by healing the Python that is actually within our own DNA, our intention for this ceremony is to restore in a very direct way our ability to hear Gaia. Okay, so with these healing things, it's always good to have, like, this is what we want from our healing today, for us to hear better. So I'll begin, and I'll go into whatever sounds want to come out of me. And then I'm just going to switch off the record button. And then anyone else who wants to come in, you can either do the light language thing yourself if you feel you want to do that. You know, this is a confidential space, so it's almost like a space for you to try that out. And what I would say is just project your feelings of love or joy through the sound, or sometimes even sadness may come up, or melancholy. So it's almost like projecting emotion through the sound, and then the sound just seems to be beautiful and happen. And if that feels like way out of your comfort zone, then you could offer a prayer or an intention in English, or even a poem, or whatever you feel. And if you don't want to do anything, that's absolutely fine. If you just want to be here and hold the space for all of us, for those who will watch this later, but really for the whole of humanity. You know, imagine if we could hear the earth better. Imagine the quantum like leap we might make in that instant of hearing. And that's what we're going to do today, is pray into that field. Okay, so just to share the mudra, this mudra kind of just came one day, and I kind of see these as, it's almost like a headdress. So the two fingers go one in front of each other like that, and then the other fingers connect. And it's like a third eye headdress, but you could hold it at the heart, you could hold it wherever on your body that you like. Okay, so let's just take a few deep breaths. Just checking the time. And just inside ourselves, just create this connection with Gaia. Create our strong intention that individually and in our group field, we want to open our inner ears to really hear what Gaia is saying to us. And perhaps these messages might come through what we hear in our inner world, that might arise through our creativity, through animals or birds especially that we see, through clouds, through weather patterns. I invite you also, as I make sounds, or as anyone makes sounds, that you move your arms, your beautiful, graceful arms and hands, in whatever way your body would like to move, but to be a living prayer. Amhi kalamba o dem bazi kula empa o lolai kai kempai yo Empire,